It was dark out by the time I got home. I had almost passed out the museum earlier. I managed to make it back okay, but I still wasn't feeling too hot. At least it was consolation that Kasumi wasn't the type of person to get upset about having to deal with stuff like this. However, on the other hand... That also meant she was the type to fret endlessly. My current goal is to figure out some way to make her leave me alone. If I didn't, she was liable to try to spend the entire night here watching over me or something.
いいよ別に大丈夫。もう寝るからお前も帰れ。
I knew that she was just trying to help, but I still couldn't really think straight after what happened earlier. I probably came across as harsher than I intended.
別に俺虚弱体質ってわけじゃないし、怪我はとっくに治ってるから病人扱いするなって。あんまり心配されてると本当に気分がめいってくる。
でも今日誘ったのは私だし、なんか責任感じちゃうし、レンちょっと頼りないし。
お前さりげなく失礼だな。
She did have a point, to be fair. I wasn't the type of person people look to for help.
頼りがいのあるお前が俺に付き合って倒れたら困るだろ。だから。
私そんなにやわじゃないよ。
俺もそんなにやわじゃないよ。だいたい俺を気遣ってるなら不毛なやりとりに付き合わせるなよ。ただでさえ明日から学校行くのが億劫なのに。
あ、そうだった。ダメだよレン、サボっちゃ。
今日サボったやつに言われてもな。
私はいいの。ちゃんと毎日通ってたから1日くらい平気だよ。でもレンは入院して多分日数足りてないんだからね。留年しちゃうよ、怠けてると。一緒に卒業したいもんね。ね。
そうだな。
よし、だったら早く寝る。
だからさっきからそう言ってるだろ。それをお前がごちゃごちゃと。
うるさいな、この不健康児は。口答えするんじゃないの。
Kasumi threw some sheets on top of me. Surely there were less direct methods of putting someone into bed.
じゃあおやすみ。明日起こしに来るからね。
それはいいけど、おいかすみ。ちゃんと玄関から出て行けよ。おい。
Did she think she'd get away with anything by just laughing it off?
それはちょっとめんどいなとか。
普通はその面倒なことが常識なんだよ、大体。
I gestured to the wall next to me and sighed.
いい加減大家に怒られるぞ。いくら隣同士だからって。
She would be in deep shit if the landlord found out that she had knocked out a goddamn hole in the wall and turned it into some sort of corridor. Like, this was the sort of thing people got kicked out for. Kasumi and I had moved into this apartment together when we enrolled in our current school. It took her less than a week to come up with the idea to construct this little side entrance.
でも同じアパートの隣に住んで助け合うってのが一人暮らしの条件だったし、いいじゃない。この方が密にフォローできるんだから。
けどな、親もまさかここまでやってるとは思ってないだろ、絶対に。
そうかな。
そうだよ。
頭固いな。だいたい事の発端はシロなんだし、私に言われても困っちゃうよ。
Believe it or not, she wasn't lying. Kasumi, Shiro, and myself had all lived together in this apartment complex, all 3 rooms next to each other in a row. It happened late one night. Out of nowhere, Shiro broke down the wall separating our rooms and barreled in here with the hammer still in his hand, saying he suddenly got the urge to play me in a fighting game. How stupid could he get?
で、何をとち狂ったか、お前も真似したんだよな、ご丁寧に。
私はハンマーなんて野蛮なことはしてないけどね。
She was barbaric enough to go down to the hardware store the next day and buy a power saw, some tarps, and a mask at least. Anyway, as I had the bad fortune to live in between these two idiots, I ended up with holes on both sides of my room. Privacy? What's that? Kasumi and Shiro would often just cut through here to visit each other, and my room became a sort of natural gathering place in general.
せめて四郎の穴だけでも塞がせろよ。
ダメよ。戻ってきたらどうするの？
There was no what if. Shiro was never coming back, whether Kasumi knew it or not.
きっとまたみんな元通りになるんだから。私とレンとシロとでね。
だな。
じゃあおやすみ。
Kasumi smiled sweetly and returned to her room, through the hole in the wall. I could tell by the complete lack of dust in my room that she had bothered to clean it while I was stuck in the hospital. Probably Shiro's too. I would never admit it out loud, but I did appreciate the consideration. At the same time, though, I couldn't help but wonder if I really deserved having her look after me like this. Kasumi knew nothing. By all rights, right now we should have been. The sign of thought would get me nowhere. I decided right then and there to stop mulling over the past. What was done was done. It wasn't healthy to keep obsessing like this. There was no way the girl I saw at the museum could have actually been real. She was just a hallucination, meaningless clutter that was born from my unstable mental state.
そうさ。
That was the only explanation. I lay down in bed. A good night's sleep would be sure to wash away the memory of today. I wouldn't remember a thing when I woke up the next morning, I was sure of it. I stared up at my own ceiling for the first time in 2 months. Amid familiar surroundings, I drifted off into sleep gripped by a slight unease rather than a sense of comfort. Now then, let the curtains rise on tonight's Grand Guignol. So if you remember, that's the puppet show. That's pretty much what it means. 'Tis a pleasure to make your acquaintance, my dear Zarathustra. I am but a humble gesture come to present you with an opera. Consider me not more than a swindler, a charlatan. My name? I suppose Cagliostro shall suffice. Do allow me to regale you tonight with the tale of a girl I met while man still called me by that name. The tale of the fair princess of the guillotine. The tale of her origins, as well as how the two of us came to meet. I beg of you to forgive my brevity. It all came about as a result of simple bad luck. Nothing more and nothing less. Humans are bound by their birth. The average man cannot hope to compete with an absolute brought about by sheer chance at birth, regardless of his foibles or virtues. My story begins with just such circumstances. Unfortunately, there are many who fail to grasp the subtleties of these matters. Allow me to apologize for beginning by airing some tiresome grievances of mine. The less reasonable among us have a tendency to seek an explanation for anyone they perceive as breaking the mold, be they a mighty hero, a blithering madman, or a miserable victim. Did they reach their status through tireless effort? Perhaps because they possessed a rare resolve? Or could it be because of some traumatic event in their past? Preposterous assumptions, the lot of them. It's all nothing more than self-projection on the part of the common man. An expression of the fanciful idea that they too could have turned out that way. That they too are capable of reaching the same level should they be granted the same opportunity. Such sentiments are little more than masturbation, pitiful attempts to drag the supernatural down to their level and reduce it to something they are capable of understanding. Miserable knaves, the lot of them. They are incapable of cherishing their fellow man without forcing themselves to believe that all others operate on the same logic as them. Such fools would be better off conversing with a mirror. You will no doubt find tonight's story unpleasant, but I trust that your soul is not tainted enough to imitate the folly of lesser men. In this world, there exist beings of utmost purity. Yes, I speak of her. Searching the entire universe, and you shall find no peers. From the moment of her birth, she was complete. She did not and would never receive even the barest mite of influence from the vulgar outside world. The scar on her neck ever flagrant, her words pregnant only with hex. Fated to remain forlorn, doomed to never be loved. Even an existence such as mine could not compete with a being as miraculously immaculate as her. For the first time I laid eyes upon true beauty. I clutched a hand to my chest, overcome by the nature of her being. Ah, how wonderful was man to bring forth something so spectacular by mere chance. I knew immediately on some primal level that here was not a state of being that others could hope to aspire to. One could devote his life to unraveling the mysteries of dusty Mars and never so much as set foot upon the mystic plane that was her dominion. She was absolute in her otherness. I must confess, I found myself envious of her. I'm sure you scoff at the very notion, of course. I can say that meeting her was the one true moment of brilliance to be found amongst the miserable ordeal of my life. In a way, it represented a loss on my part, yet defeat has never tasted sweeter. I finally discovered a goal to strive toward amid the endless expanse of the wasteland that I had wandered aimlessly for so long. I shall kneel before you, my beloved queen. I shall devote my very being to you, to the task of leading your soul to salvation. That shall be my opera, the day of wrath, that shall rend asunder the accursed ghetto that is this universe. Come now. It's time to take center stage, Zarathustra. Take her hand and lead her in dance. I would like nothing more than for you to dazzle me. Suddenly, I heard the sound of waves crashing against the shore. I found myself standing on a mysterious beach bathed in the crimson hue of dusk. This was a place far removed from the hectic fervor of the city. I could hear nothing but the quiet murmur of the waves and the sporadic chirping of birds somewhere in the distance. The scenery around me possessed a fleeting beauty, one brought about by the setting sun as it melted into the contours of the distant sea. This was the sort of sight that would normally vanish in an instant, but somehow I knew that here it would persist eternally. This was a moment frozen in time. Half of the sun had already sunk beyond the horizon, but the remaining half would never budge. The waves continuing to roll in and out were surely governed by something other than the tidal force I was familiar with. Suddenly I understood. This was a dream. There wasn't a beach like this anywhere near Suihara City. Hell, it didn't really look like anywhere in Japan. I had set foot on foreign soil, set foot on a temporal plane far removed from the present. It would seem that I understood the nature of this place on an instinctual level. By all means, I should have felt some sense of bewilderment being confronted with so surreal a scene, but I simply found myself captivated by it. There was a certain nostalgic atmosphere about the place that spoke to me. No, maybe what really drew me in was the sense of stagnation. This was a world frozen in time, possessed of the beauty of an everlasting sunset. The very concept of the flow of time was meaningless here. An eternal twilight decorated by a sun that would never dip below the horizon. This world existed on the border between day and night, its very existence a precarious reverie, fallen between the cracks of reality. I felt truly at peace here, with this concentrated moment. I sat down on the beach, absently staring out at the sea and listening to the waves. I found myself overcome with a peculiar sense of déjà vu. Even though I'd never laid eyes on this place before, it was like I was already deeply familiar with it. Obviously, this is all just a dream, but it was a pleasant feeling nonetheless. Knowing what you're dealing with in advance means that you can handle anything it might throw your way. Foreknowledge makes it possible to avoid dangerous situations and prolong pleasant ones. To make better, more meaningful decisions. What could bring about a greater sense of peace? Yes, my ideal world was knowing everything in advance. Going around in circles until the day you die. Was that your heart's desire? She cut across my line of vision at nearly the exact same time as I turned around. For the first time, I knew what it meant to have your breath taken away. The word that immediately came to mind was enchanting. I felt certain that anyone who came across this girl on this beach would be stunned in the same way I was. She was outfitted in a shabby, worn-out dress. No one could call her attire elegant, but on her it exuded a radiance that women of high society could never hope to attain, even with their most extravagant formal wear. Her long hair emanated an auburn aura, lit up by the dull red glow of the setting sun, as she danced across the wet sand of the beach. The stark white ankles peeking out from the hem of her dress offered a sharp contrast to the warm colors of the world around her. She turned to face me, emerald eyes gleaming with a gentle light. I couldn't take my eyes off of her. She was like a gemstone cut into human form. As I stared, she began to sing, a ghost of a smile playing across her face. I could only give myself into her song, until the sweet refrain brought forth by her heavenly voice. The words L'Enfant de la Punition suddenly flashed through my head. I didn't know what those words meant or why they came to me now. Her song was a melody unfamiliar to me. However, I felt certain that it was some form of prayer, perhaps a hymn unbeknownst to all but her. The girl before me was utterly pure, removed from our base world. How could a melody spilling forth from the lips of a being so immaculate be anything but a prayer? Was it possible to listen to a song you'd never heard before within a dream? I didn't know, but there was no sense in pondering such questions. She was beautiful, plain and simple. That was enough to make everything else seem... Something felt vaguely out of place. Was I overlooking something important? The stirring of emotion I had felt up to that point dissolved. Listening with a clear head, the lyrics of her song began to form intelligible sentences. I had been a fool. Throughout Japan's history, twilight, the borderline between day and night, had been regarded as the time when boundaries between the natural and supernatural grew thin. Twilight was when the inhuman walked among the living. All along, this girl had been mad.
血が欲しい。ギロチンに注ごう飲み物を。ギロチンの渇きを。欲しいのは血。
She continued singing, the same smile as ever adorning her features. Her emerald eyes were as clear as the surface of a pristine lake without a trace of malevolence to be found. Which is precisely why the scene before me was so horrifying. She possessed a childlike innocence, in jarring contrast to the utter profanity of her accursed song.
血が欲しい。
Her song reverberated inside my head, splitting itself into seemingly endless echoes. As I stared at her, I caught a glimpse of the crimson band around her neck, through her disheveled hair, unmistakably the work of a guillotine's blade.
欲しいのは血。
This was the same girl I had met in the museum, the cursed girl who had met her end by the guillotine. L'enfant de la punition, the damned girl.
血が欲しい。
I was assaulted by a sudden brutal impact, as if I'd been hit by a semi. My vision went black. In the next moment, I found myself in the midst of a turbulent crowd, gathered around the gallows set up in the center of the plaza. A torrent of sheer delirium, fueled by fear and hatred and a dark elation, consumed everything. The scenery around me little more than churning chaos. A deafening chorus filled my ears. Je veux le sang, 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 et sang. Blood, 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 it wants blood. Technically it's I, because they're using je instead of on. Donnons le sang de guillotine. Showered the guillotine with drink. Even though donnon is like giving rather than showering, but they're trying to give it context, I guess. Pour guérir la sécheresse de la guillotine. May the guillotine thirst be quenched. Je veux le sang, 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 et sang. The frenzied crowd was singing the same song that I had only heard moments earlier, back in the time period when public executions like this were commonplace. It must have been the hymn they offered before the guillotine. The elites, the clergy, and the common man had come together, all for the simple purpose of seeing a criminal decapitated before their eyes. To see my head fly from my shoulders. That's right. Don't ask me why, but the criminal strapped to the guillotine was none other than myself. Next to me, some sort of official was calling out to the crowd, speaking a language I didn't recognize. It would seem he was recruiting a volunteer to act as the executioner. It wasn't long before a man emerged from the crowd. He released the guillotine's blade in my head. Tumbled to the ground, bathed in the queer tones of the eternal dusk. My spine was severed in an instant, inducing ataxia. My ability to feel pain had been lost with the connection between my brain and the rest of my body. I could do nothing but stare up at my headless body as it spewed forth blood. My heart was still beating. I wanted nothing more than to extend a hand to my body, but that was impossible now.
血が欲しい。
All I could do was lie on the ground, listening to that indomitable refrain. I jolted out of bed, only to find that it was already light outside. I immediately reached for my neck. It was, of course, still attached to the rest of my body.
夢か。
I slumped down. Dream or not, that experience was no laughing matter. It was just in bad taste, and above all else,
ねえちょっとどうしたのよ。
I wasn't very happy about the fact that Kasumi, who snuck into my room like this on a daily basis, had just seen the whole thing.
うなされてたよ。大丈夫？やっぱりまだ怪我の具合が。
いや、
I wouldn't have been released from the hospital if I hadn't made a full recovery, so the stream had nothing to do with my injuries. It was nice that Kasumi was so worried about me, but if I can make things clear now, she'd end up driving us both to ruin.
デリケートなんだよ俺は。枕が変わってうまく寝つけなかっただけ。あと人の寝顔をジロジロ見てる変態がいたせいだな、うなされてたのは。
それ私のこと？
他に一体誰がいると？
うわ、何この恩知らず。そんなこと言ってるともうご飯作ってあげないよ。
Kasumi gave me an exaggerated glance, shaking the kitchen knife she had brought from her room back and forth. No wonder I had a nightmare. Who wouldn't if there was a crazy person holding a knife staring at them while they were asleep? At least that was what I tried to tell myself.
危なっかしいからしまえよそれ。俺の前でそんなもんちらつかせないでくれ。
それはあんたの部屋に包丁がないから悪いんでしょ。まったく私がいないとレトルトばっかり食べるくせに。少しはその辺感謝して多少の役得をくれたっていいじゃないの。
役得？
What was she going on about?
レンの寝顔可愛いんだなこれが。起きたら小生意気なんだけどね。
I began to seriously consider wrapping her in a blanket and throwing her out the window.
抱きしめて唇奪ってやろうかこの女。図星？
そんなわけあるかよ。とにかく朝飯なら勝手にキッチン使っていいからさっさとしてくれ。
はーい。なんかレンって意外に亭主関白臭いよね。
Kasumi headed off into the kitchen, still waving that damn knife around. I really needed to look into closing up that hole in the wall. That said, her morning antics had done a good job of helping me forget about that horrible dream. I was grateful for that at least. It was currently 7:20 a.m. Kasumi and I sat at the table, about to get started on the rice, grilled fish, and miso soup that she had made. Truly a Japanese breakfast if I'd ever seen one. It was about 30 minutes from our apartment complex to the school, so right now we could afford to spend 10 minutes eating, 10 minutes cleaning up, and 10 minutes getting ready.
あっく、ウィーンをそうかへ。
は？
Kasumi took a sip of tea, washing down the rice that had been stuck in her mouth. Had anyone ever taught this girl the first thing about manners?
制服クリーニングしといたからね。
ああ。
If memory served, it had been covered in blood and dust in addition to being ripped up all over. Our uniforms are made from white cloth, so it would have been hard to miss.
クリーニングでよく片付いたな。新しいの買おうかと思ってたのに。
そう言うだろうと思って注文もしといたけど、なんか少し時間がかかるって言われたから、新品が来るまでちょっとみっともないけどこれで我慢しなさいね。
Kasumi placed a folded uniform that had been lying next to her onto my lap. I opened it up to find that it all had been patched together here and there.
何その顔。
いや、もしかしてこれお前が？
悪いかこの文句あるか？
文句は別にないけどさ。
While Kasumi's cooking was more or less edible, her sewing skills left a lot to be desired.
まあありがとう。あとは冬だしずっとコートでも着てりゃいいかな。
授業中も？それって校則違反じゃない？
固いこと言うなよ。病み上がりなんだ俺は。
昨日は病人扱いするなって言ったくせに。
Kasumi shot me a glare, then proceeded to begin chowing down on the single taruko on her plate.
辛い。
Well, of course it was.
っていうかお前それ二人で分けるんじゃないのかよ。何一人で丸ごとトライしてるんだ。
やかましいわね。あんたには絶対やらない。これうちのお母さんがくれたんだからね。
And so she began nibbling at her taruko, without even using rice to soften its taste.
辛いよ。
She looked like she was about to burst into tears.
お前頭大丈夫か？
大きなお世話です。バカ。
She turned her whole body away from me in her chair. She apparently had no further intention of speaking with me. Not that I really gave a shit. It'd be nice if she could just stop mumbling stuff like "so spicy but so good" while acting like that, though. It was kinda creeping me out. Since Kasumi had retreated into her own little world, I found myself without anything to do while we ate breakfast. I decided to check out what was on the news, which had been playing in the background this whole time. Unfortunately, there wasn't much that caught my interest. Mostly the usual about the weather and whatnot. And for an average citizen like myself, even the sensational news about corrupt politicians and celebrities caught having affairs wasn't really that exciting or relevant. Since there was nothing interesting on TV, I decided to see if Kasumi had decided to stop acting like a child yet. Brian is about to shift my focus back toward her.
され死亡
Whoa, hold the phone. What did they just say?
昨夜遅く諏訪原市の公園で男性の他殺死体が発見され、同市警は殺人事件として捜査を。
Wait, had there really been a homicide in Suwahara?
現在のところ通り魔的なものであるとの見解がなされており、それというのも被害者の頸部が切断されるという猟奇的な犯行であることから、凶器の断定はまだできていないとのことですが、おそらくは鋭利な刃物、日本刀、もしくはそれに類する刃渡り60センチ以上の刀剣であるという説が有力。なお被害者の男性は諏訪原市の会社員生野健二さん24歳であり、死因は頸部の切断による。
I stared transfixed at the news reporters that elaborated on the details, but the sound of a plate shattering shook me out of my trance. Kasumi must have dropped it. One could hardly blame her for being surprised. Here we were eating breakfast as usual, and all of a sudden the news was going on about some gruesome details of a homicide. Suwahara City Park, the site of the murder, was a place most residents were very familiar with as well. So Kasumi's reaction was very normal. The details of the incident, however, were far from normal. They said that the cause of death was decapitation, so in other words, his head was cut off. If there are no other wounds on the body, then the act must have been carried out swiftly. Maybe the culprit got the guy as they were walking by each other, or snuck upon him from behind. Or they could have knocked the victim out first. I couldn't be sure of the exact details, but if the murder weapon was a sharp blade like newscaster had said, it seems safe to say that the victim had been beheaded in one clean strike. You'd need nigh superhuman strength in order to pull something like that off. The culprit had to be some sort of giant bodybuilder, and a guy like that walking around with a katana or something would definitely attract attention. Yet according to the newscaster, there were no reports of anyone suspicious in the area at around the time of the murder. So what? Had they set up a piano wire trap in advance or something? My hand shot to my neck. Here I was, trying to come up with some realistic scenario to explain the murder. More accurately, I was trying to come up with an explanation that didn't involve that. I was trying to avoid thinking about the implement that one couldn't help but associate with beheading. I had seen it myself at the museum. Hell, I even had a dream involving it the night before. The guillotine that stood so imposingly amid the execution grounds in my dream. I could still remember it severing my head in vivid detail. I'd woken up to find that someone really had been decapitated. Was this just a coincidence? Just something I could laugh off as not concerning me? After all, I had seen the same girl in both real life and my dream. It was already apparent that the boundary between the two was thinner than we thought. Who could prove that what happened in a dream couldn't also occur in reality? In other words, my dream had been...
レン、もう行こう。遅刻しちゃうよ。
Kasumi is right. It wasn't healthy to keep going down this unrealistic line of thought.
わかった。着替えるから部屋戻っててくれ。
別に照れなくてもいいのに。
うるさいな。それより。
はいはい。玄関使いでしょ。面倒だから嫌ですよ。とりあえず先に食器だけ片付けとくね。
Even our typical morning routine felt somehow strained.
ほら、もたもたしてない。さっさと行く。
But unlike me, Kasumi wasn't the type to keep moping around forever. It was business as usual as she stood in front of the apartment, harassing me.
もう、なんで男のあんたが私より準備に時間かかるのよ。あ、それともあれかな？もしかしてお化粧してたりしたのかな？
殴るぞ、お前は。
Did no one ever tell her that it was rude to make fun of other people's appearances?
そっちこそ少しはシャレっ気くらいつけろよな。いつも汗まみれで竹刀ばっかり振ってるから男じゃなくて女にモテ。
喧嘩売ってるわけ？
先に売ってきたのはお前だろうが。
何を？昔はそれがいいとか言ってたような気がするのに。
気がするだけかよ。
I sure as hell never said that.
だいたいあんただって女の子にモテ。
なくても別にいい。特にお前には。
ちょっと何これ、ほんと可愛くないですよ。
だから可愛くなくていいんだよ。あとこれってなんだ？これは物か？
Oh yes、 この国籍野郎。
Brain cells were going to start dying if I continued this conversation. I didn't feel like being late for school the day after I got back from being in the hospital, so I urged Kasumi along.
ほら行くぞ。
はーい。で、本当にコート着てきたんだね。まだそんなに寒くないのに。
今日は冷えるって言ってただろ。
そうだっけ？
They did, but I thought better of bringing up the news again.
俺寒がりだしな。
I'd rather people not see the patchwork mess I was wearing. I kept that last bit to myself. We walked for a bit until we hit a crossroads. This junction was in the heart of the city, so you could say that all the roads converged here and then split off again. The city was split neatly into blocks by the main streets crossing here, with the church and hospital on the side facing the mountains, and the park and amusement park on this. And the park, yeah, that's awkwardly worded. And the park and amusement park on the side facing the sea. As long as you started from here, it was impossible to get lost. I figured one might expect this sort of thing from a city known as a tourist destination like Suihara. No one would bother visiting if it was impossible to make your way around. Of course, last night there had been a murder at the park on the seafront side of Suihara favored by tourists. Not exactly the sort of thing that's good for business. The police are probably already on the move looking for the killer. It would be best not to walk around at night for the next few weeks, in more ways than one.
レ
Kasumi suddenly called out to me.
ン、そっち方向違うよ。
は？
そっちはその。
Right, of course.
悪い。
The fastest way to reach school was to cut through the park, so I instinctively started walking in that direction. Thank God Kasumi had caught me. I had no intention of approaching a murder scene of my own volition.
久しぶりなんで道忘れたかも。よければ手とかは引いてくれると助かる。
あのね、バカな冗談言ってると本当に置いてくからね。もう。
No luck. I had tried playing it off to lighten the mood, but all I managed to do was piss her off. In the end, though, Kasumi made sure I was following her the whole way to school. I decided I should express my gratitude by offering her some important advice.
お前先に教室入れ。
は？
だから俺のことはもういいよ。気にしないで。ほら教室。
あんた何言ってんの？
わかんないかな。お前鈍いよ。
Maybe I couldn't really complain about Kasumi being so open, but at times I wish she was a little more perceptive. It didn't even occur to her on the way here. Sometimes I just wasn't sure about this girl.
今俺と一緒に教室入るとお前変な目で見られるぞ。
なんで？
なんでも何も。
I was already enough of an outcast to begin with. And now here I was, coming back to school after spending 2 months in the hospital because I'd gotten in a huge fight with a classmate. It wasn't hard to predict what sort of response I would get.
そんなのと仲良くして変な噂立てられたくなかったらここは当たらず触らずって。
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Kasumi is the sort of person with a strong sense of justice, a rarity in this day and age.
ムカつくな。私そういう考え大嫌い。ほらレン、一緒に行くよ。
She grabbed my arm and started dragging me with her.
頼む。
She might have managed to make a nice entrance, emphatically swinging the door open and all, but things didn't go well after that.
何かなこれ。
お前のテンションに引いてるってのが多分3割。
The other 70% went without saying. Unfortunately for Kasumi, the world didn't care if one was in the right or not. My first day at school in 2 months was off to a stellar start. As I'd expected, I didn't exactly blend into the classroom. Caught my classmates casting sideward glances at me more than a few times. Kasumi didn't know when to quit, so she kept trying to get me involved with things, but I'd rather she just left me alone. It wasn't like I was getting off on the idea of being some aloof loner or whatever, but I wanted to take things easy for the time being. A form of rehab in a sense. It was only natural for people to be wary around someone who had been involved in a violent incident, so I couldn't get angry at my peers. In fact, if they'd start acting all friendly instead, it would feel more like they were afraid of me in some way, and that wouldn't really sit well with me. I had never had any friends except for Kasumi, Shiro, and Himuro in the first place. Nothing wrong with things staying the way they were. So Kasumi didn't need to keep up these futile efforts.
早く飯でも食ってこいよ。
だからレンも一緒に行くの。
I had the honor of being invited to lunch by my childhood friend who just so happened to be a bit of a celebrity around school.
何が悲しくて一回も口聞いたことない女5人の集団に俺が混ざらなきゃならないんだよ。
それは誤解を解くために。
やめとけよ、バカらしい。
A group of girls, hell if I could remember any of their names, stood behind Kasumi, gazing at me suspiciously.
あれ、友達だろ。だったら嫌がらせみたいなことしてやるなって。
なんでよ、レンも私の友達じゃない。
そう言ってくれるのはありがたいんだけどな。
Was she trying to argue that a friend of a friend was a friend too or something? Come on.
とにかくこういうのは最初が肝心なの。あんたもこれを機にマイナスイメージを払拭して。
And start making your daily life into something meaningful, blah blah blah. She just started going on with this stuff, like she was straight up some sort of after-school special. No thank you.
ちょっとレン、聞いてるの？
Okay, I was seriously getting fed up here.
俺は別に周りの評判なんか気にしてないし。
私は気にするの？みんな何も知らないで勝手なことばっかり言ってんだから。悔しいのよ、そういうの。だからってほら、ちゃんとこっち見る。
Kasumi grabbed my face from both sides. Clearly, I wasn't getting off that easily. The idea of trying to persuade her had probably been doomed from the start.
あのな、俺はこれでも俺なりに。
何よ、なんか文句あるわけ？
Before I could respond with, of course I fucking do. My phone suddenly barged into the conversation with a beep.
嘘、レンにメールが来た。
来ちゃ悪いのかよ。ほら、話せ。
What sort of reaction was that? I thought Kasumi was supposed to be sticking up for me, not treating me like some outcast herself. I shook her off and looked at my phone screen.
どうしたの？
いや、悪いな、かすみ。
あ？
先約があったのを忘れてた。
ちょっと待ってよ。あ、こら、レン！
飯はまた今度誘ってくれよ。
I slipped past her and offered some parting remarks as I entered the hallway. I cast a glance to the side only to find Kasumi's friends still staring at me. They didn't need to conspicuously avert their eyes as soon as they noticed I had looked at them. Jeez. See, it was just as I said. People's preconceived notions don't go away that easily, and honestly, people weren't exactly mistaken in their perception of me, so trying to clear things up or whatever was a ridiculous idea to begin with. There was no need to expend a bunch of effort only to end up making things awkward for everyone involved. Like I was trying to tell her earlier, I did try to be considerate in my own way, since Kasumi had problems understanding the nuance of delicate situations like this. So I wasn't happy with her trying to give me shit about it. Congratulations on getting out of the hospital. School was lonely without you. How are you feeling? There's some things I'd like to talk to you about, so I'll be waiting on the roof. By the way, no one else is around. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just me and Fuji. Hurry on up, Himuro. What was I supposed to say to this? Looked like she hadn't changed a bit. I wasn't sure whether I should have heaved a long sigh or start laughing. As a senior, surely she had something better to do than messing with her underclassmen. I really couldn't figure that part of her out. Like, true, I couldn't picture her getting stressed out over college entrance exams or job hunting, so maybe that sort of carefree approach did suit her. But let's just say she took things too far. Well, anyway, the roof, huh? It would be a little rude to just turn down her offer, and besides, I was looking for a way to give Kasumi the slip anyway. I climbed up the stairs and threw open the door to the roof. It was December. To put it simply, the roof was murderously cold at this time of the year. Before I had taken my 2-month leave of absence, there were still plenty of students eating lunch up here every day, but obviously no one was crazy enough to... Oh yeah, I guess there was someone crazy enough to keep using the roof. I heaved a sigh as I searched for her. There she was, sitting on a bench by the fence and munching on a sandwich. Why did she pick the coldest spot on the entire roof to sit anyway?
先輩
I didn't get a response, so I went ahead and sat down. I had been sitting next to her for nearly 10 seconds now, but she hadn't even looked in my direction, let alone tried to strike up a conversation. She didn't fall asleep, right?
先輩は
寒い。凍った。温めて。
For a moment, I considered just getting up and leaving. This was Irae Himuro, the student who happened to be one of my few friends.
それ、暖かそうね、藤井くん。貸してくれると、私嬉しい。っていうか、むしろ貸せばか。
This was about what you could expect from her.
正直、ちょっと甘く見てた。天気予報もなかなかやるね。それで藤井くん。私とても寒いんだけど。
どうでしょうね
For all her claims that she was freezing, she wasn't shivering one bit, and her expression seemed more or less normal. I couldn't be sure of her intent, but she was eyeing my coat. That stare of hers was colder than any weather.
ちゃんと後で返すなら
Thanks to Kasumi's sewing job, my uniform underneath was looking more than a little fancy. But I didn't feel like getting into some sort of war of endurance. I stood up and took off my coat.
なんだったら、二人で着る？こう、仲良く肩寄せ合って。
遠慮しときますよ
I made my stance clear and stuck the coat on her.
暖かい。藤井くんは優しいね。そっちはどう？寒くない？
暖かいって言ったら嘘ですね
じゃあ遠慮しないで。ほら、入りなさい。
Himuro flapped the hem of the coat, gesturing for me to join her. Did she just want to screw with me like this all day long?
で俺と何を話したいんです
さりげなく無視するのね。まあいいけど、まずは退院おめでとう。綾瀬さんにはもう言われた？
おかげさまで昨日しっかり
じゃあデートした？
おかげさまでそこそこしっかり
そうよかった。
Exactly what part of that was good was completely lost on me.
まあこれでも食べなさい。
She offered me an egg sandwich. What was I, a dog being rewarded for a trick?
しっかり食べないと大きくならない。苦労するよ、いろいろと。健全な精神は健全な体に宿るらしいし、早く真人間になりなさいね。
She was really laying it on today. Apparently I didn't even qualify as a real human being. Sorry, but I felt confident that I was better at the whole human thing than she was at least.
何？
いや別に
思ったことは言いなさいよ。そんなだから喧嘩になる。ユサくんともどうせそうでしょ。食べてる？
一応
I opened up the egg sandwich and gave it a few bites, offering a flippant reply in the process.
話したいことってのはそれですか
そうって言ったら帰っちゃう？
微妙ですね
I knew that wasn't a great answer, but I gazed up at the sky. Why was everyone trying to lecture me like this as soon as I got out of the hospital? Was what I did really that worrying? Like, okay, I was sure most people consider my scuffle with Shiro to be far more than a mere fight, but it wasn't like I'd been singled out for violence by a group or anything. I could understand people who I wasn't particularly friendly with going out of their way to avoid me or getting an earful from Kasumi, but I never expected Himuro of all people to go at it too.
先輩に説教ってのは似合いませんねそっち系は霞だけで足りてますよあいつが2人もいたらマジで胃に穴が開く
Hell, the main reason I came up here was to get away from her bitching.
苦労人だね。
おかげさまでね
I dropped my shoulders and sighed. Himuro resumed eating her sandwich as if nothing had ever happened. I guess that was about what I expected from Himuro. If I had to try to describe her, she was like a ghost. She possessed a certain indefinite nature, like she wasn't concerned with the events of the world around her. At the same time, she would occasionally act up as seen earlier. The way she kind of kept her distance was similar to my own position on things, so I did get along with her better than I did Kasumi. That's why the two of us had managed to become friends.
さっきのはちょっと綾瀬さんの真似してみたの。君めんどくさそうな顔しながらまんざらでもなさそうだし、そういうのが好きなのかなって一度試してみたかったから。でも似合わないならやめようかな。そんなに私変だった？
そりゃあね、だいぶ。
How were you supposed to react when the person lecturing you seemed like they were talking to thin air?
で、本当のところは何のようです？まさか霞のモノマネしたかっただけでもないでしょう。いや、下手したらあり得るけど。
うん。まあ用ってほどじゃないんだけど、聞きたいことが一つだけ。
She cast me a sideward glance, her tone as flat as ever.
君とユサ君、どっちが勝ったの？結構話題になってるのよね。月額最強決定戦。今のところ64でユサ君有利。でも復学してきたのは君だけだから、そのあたり揺れてるね。
I didn't take Himuro for the type to get in on fads like this. Who won, me or Shiro? Well, if you took that to mean who was stronger, then...
俺ですよ。
本当に？
嘘ついてるとでも？
さ、ただユサ君に聞いても同じことを言いそうだから。
Yeah, he might have. No, scratch that, he definitely would have.
怖い顔。やだね。これだから男の子は。勝ったの負けたの。そういうのがそんなに大事？肩こらないかな。プレッシャーだよ。
聞いてきたのは先輩でしょうに。
そうだけど。うん。そうだった。ごめんなさい。じゃあ、質問を変えようか。どうしてユサ君と喧嘩したの？答えたくない？
そうですね。
It wasn't something I was willing to discuss with others. Himuro was the one who had found Shiro and me passed out up here, and called an ambulance for us, so in that sense I was indebted to her. But that didn't really apply to this. Himuro sighed.
まあ、三角関係のもつれとか、そういうお手軽いネタじゃないのは察するけどね。君とユサ君、そんなジャンルのキャラじゃないし、綾瀬さんモテそうに見えないし。
She didn't exactly mince words with that one. I figured it would be best not to try to argue, though. Shiro and I weren't the type to get in fights for wholesome reasons like that. And indeed, Kasumi wasn't popular. At least, not with us.
そんな君たちが、なんでか友達だったのが不幸の始まりだったのかな。実は私、前からこうなるような気がしてたよ。だから、神様は性格悪いなって思ってた。うん。今度一発、君の代わりに殴っとこうか。遠慮しないで、善意だから。
そりゃどうも。
Not exactly the sort of thing someone who lived in a church should be saying, but I didn't exactly feel obligated to stop her. If she wanted to punch out Jesus, then she could be my guest. As long as I wasn't the one receiving divine punishment over it anyway.
だいたい、君に喧嘩なんて似合わないよ。怪我とかしたら、みんな悲しむ。うちのシスターなんて、きっとそっとするんじゃないかな。
シスター？
Did she mean the nun at the church? I had only met her a few times before, but she was really something else. To say that she had model-like proportions would be an understatement. To put it simply, someone like her working as a nun was a great loss to the world. I wouldn't mind giving Jesus a sucker punch or two myself over that one.
名前何でしたっけ？
シスターリザ。青い瞳のボインボイン F カップ。ちなみに私は B カップ。
TMI.
そのうち大きくなるかもしれない。
I kept quiet. There was no sense in crushing her dreams.
で、その F カップさんは元気ですか？
B カップは興味ないの？
それはとりあえずノーコメントで。
I rolled up the wrapping paper for the egg sandwich I'd been eating and tossed it into the pocket of the coat Himuro was wearing. Not missing a beat, she proceeded to hand me a tomato sandwich.
彼女、今寝込んでるよ。 お見舞い来る？
風邪ですか？
ううん、そうじゃなくて。
She took out another sandwich. Where the hell is she keeping all these sandwiches anyway? And then, with the same unwavering blank expression on her face, she dropped a bombshell.
殺人事件見ちゃったから。ニュース見てない？公園で殺人事件、首バッサリ、血がドバー。怖いね。私も食欲なくなるよ。
She said, happily chowing down on a tomato sandwich. Whatever, that wasn't the issue here.
見たって、つまり犯人を？
ううん、そっちじゃなくてやられた方。
死体を？
第一発見者。私もね。
She nodded casually. If this was true, we were talking about some serious shit. This was the sort of thing that could traumatize someone for life.
おかげで私、一晩中警察で事情聴取。リザはあんなだから先に返しておいたけど、大丈夫かな。
それより、先輩は平気なのか？
私は寝不足なだけ。カツ丼くれるかなと思ったけど、あれってドラマの中だけなんだね。がっかりしたよ。どうしたの藤井君、変な顔して。
She was the weird one here. I mean, I had always thought she was a little off, but...
もしかして、本当に話したかったのはそれなんですか？
どうかな。話の流れで思い出したから言ったんだけど、もしかしたらそうかもしれない。容疑者扱いされてショックだったし。ねえ私、愚痴っていいかな？
まあ、いいですけど。
A murder case. There were a few topics less suitable for mealtime. Honestly, it wasn't really something I wanted to hear about either. Unfortunately, I couldn't avoid feeling curious about the matter. I couldn't seem to rid myself of thoughts about that dream. I decided to go ahead and listen to what Himuro had to say.
11時過ぎだったかな。あそこの夜景が好きだからよくリザと見に行くの。いつもはカップルばっかりで、たまに痴漢とか出るんだけど、昨日はなぜか誰もいなくて、思えば嫌な感じがしてたんだよね。寒いのに生暖かいっていうか、ちょっと変な雰囲気で。あの時に帰らなかったのは失敗だったよ。後悔してる。
Himuro began her story, an uncharacteristic hint of self-derision in her voice. The park she was talking about wasn't the sort of place housewives took their kids to. It was a seaside park that offered a view of the opposite shore and its various attractions, like the sky-high tower, the amusement park, shopping mall, resort hotel, and so on. As such, it was generally utilized as a date spot, teeming with people late into the night. It would seem that that was not the case last night, however.
橋のたもとあるじゃない。ほら、よく君とユサ君がバイクで遊んでたところ。あそこって不意に暗くなるんだよね。地元の人間でもあまり知らないような場所。街の死角っていうのかな。とにかく現場はそこだった。最初に気づいたのはリザの方。彼女が言うにはスプレーかと思ったらしいよ。でも実際はそうじゃなくて。
A wall dyed in red paint, a sticky gelatinous torrent of foul-smelling.
私の第一印象はコルク抜いたばかりのシャンパンかな。線が外れちゃってるっていう感じで、少し離れたところに転がってたよ。こうゴロンと。首って結構飛ぶんだね。それに血もいっぱい出るんだ。
Blood made up about 8 to 10% of a person's total weight. For an adult male, that would have been about 5 to 6 liters. It was no stretch to say that they had come across a literal sea of blood.
よく失神とかしなかったですね。
女の方が血に耐性があるんだよ。あといざという時の度胸もね。とにかくそのまま帰るわけにもいかないから、警察に電話して家まで送ってもらおうと思ったんだけど。
任意同行を求められて朝まで事情聴取ですか。
そう、失礼しちゃうね。 丸腰の女二人にあんなことができるわけないのにさ。
She meant cleaving off someone's head in an instant like that, according to the news.
日本刀かはそういう感じの刃物なんじゃないかって。
そうらしいね。だから今博物館を調べてるんじゃないのかな。何かなくなった展示品がありはしないか。もしく
I wanted to laugh that idea off, but the circumstances made it difficult.
その推理ちょっと漫画的な気がしますけど。
でも同じ町にあれだけ凶器を置いてるところがあるんだし、無視するわけにもいかないんじゃないのかな。
She had a point.
そのあたり藤井君はどう思う？
どうって。
何か思い当たることはなかったの？例えば伝説の妖刀がこっそり紛れてそうな雰囲気とか。
Even overlooking the ridiculous example, I couldn't tell if she was being serious or not.
藤井君？
いえ、特には。
そう、ちょっと残念。
As ever, her disinterested tone was at odds with her words. Himuro resumed eating. I simply looked up to the sky. A grisly decapitation. This was the sort of abnormal gruesome event that would give you goosebumps just thinking about it. Anyone living in Suwahara must have been scared out of their wits. After all, murders this bizarre rarely ended with just one victim. For all we know, another body could turn up tonight. And I might have been involved.
実際みんな落ち着かない感じだね。きっとしばらく部活とかは中止になるよ。もし周りの子たちが藤井君を過剰に怖がってるような感じなら、それはきっとそういう理由もあるんだよ。
俺は別にそんなことはどうでも。
そうなの？じゃあどうして元気ないかな。おかしいね。ああ、もしかして綾瀬さんと喧嘩でもした？
違いますよ。
嘘ばっかり。
She threw the coat she had been wearing over my head.
ダメだよ。好きな子には優しくしないと。物騒なんだし、君が守ってあげなくちゃ。じゃあね、藤井君。コートありがとう。あと、話聞いてくれてありがとう。本当は、私も少し怖かったから、おかげで気が紛れたよ。
Himuro gave me a rare grin. She seemed just a little embarrassed. If she acted like this all the time, she'd establish a fan base in no time. Well, that aside.
俺の好きな女とか勝手に決めないでくれますか？俺は別に霞なんか。
はい。それも嘘。とにかく、いい加減裏に回る癖を直しなさい。もうユサ君はいないんだから。じゃあね。
With that, Himuro left the roof behind. I heaved a sigh. In the end, I really was just lectured the whole time. I was kind of miffed. It was cold as hell on the roof, and I had lost the will to return to class, so I decided to just skip. Apparently I had fallen asleep at some point. I opened my eyes to see...
おいおい。
I couldn't believe myself. It was already completely dark out. I was lucky I didn't get sick. Maybe it's true what they said about idiots not catching colds. I rose from the bench I'd been lying on. I checked the time on my phone. 6:30 p.m. It wasn't terribly late, but seeing how it was winter, it was already pitch black outside. In the distance, I could still see lights on in the school offices. The idea of being caught by a teacher wasn't appealing. I had had enough lectures for one day. I headed back to the classroom to pick up my stuff, only to find... You moron, go and get held back a year for all I care. A lovely note from Kasumi taped to my desk. But she had no reason to be concerned. My grades were better than hers. Since this was a college prep school, they were willing to turn a blind eye to most things as long as you did well on tests. That said, the incident with Shiro might not have fallen under most things, but... Setting that aside, I tore the note off the desk, rolled it up, and launched it at the trash can. I totally sunk the free throw. I left the classroom after paying my respects to Kasumi's rancorous missive. The school was more than a little creepy at night. No wonder so many people reported ghost sightings during the summer months. I wasn't a fan of ghosts myself. If I had to say why, it was because they were immune to physical attacks. You could try punching them, kicking them, whacking them with a bat, whatever, wouldn't do a damn thing. Meanwhile, they were able to mess with us all they wanted. You could hardly call that playing fair. Surely I wasn't the only one who found that a bit unsophisticated. As I was walking down the hall, entertaining myself with silly ponderings on ghosts, something outside the window caught my eye.
剣道場
The lights were on. Himuro had said that club activities would probably be suspended, which meant...
かすみか
I couldn't think of any other explanation. Surely she wasn't trying to develop some new technique to take on the murderer on the loose, right? Unfortunately, I couldn't just leave her here now that I knew. What Himuro had told me earlier was still in my mind too, I guess. Setting aside the issue of whether or not she really needed me escorting her, we took the same path back home anyway.